Hello, everyone. Welcome to Thought for Thursday. Hopefully, you all can hear me. I believe my mic is working here. I'm so thrilled to have you here with us tonight or today, whenever you are choosing to watch this. As you know, Thought for Thursday is a segment of Leveling Up the podcast, which can be found on your favorite podcast listening platform. And Thought for Thursday is on Thursday nights, where we come to you and bring you a 15-minute power punch that deals with areas that may be pain points for you. 15 minutes in total, giving you the dilemma, giving you the question, and then also supplying you with some tools that you can use to elevate, leaving from here whenever you listen to this segment. So today's topic is on people pleasing. People pleasing. How many of us really know what that means? And if you know anything about it, or perhaps even if you don't know something about it, you may know how it feels, or you may not recognize that terminology. However, you very well may know what people pleasing feels like because indeed you are doing it in your life. And it's something that really does rob so many of us, especially women in our middle years. We've been doing things for quite some time, and we're kind of at a place now where we are in a very comfortable spot. And many times that comfortable spot is an area where we really haven't provided enough of leeway or enough time for ourselves because we really have dug deep into people pleasing. It's a trap, honestly, that pulls so many of us from being our authentic selves and really keeps us saying yes consistently and constantly when we really mean no. Saying yes, and it makes us believe that putting ourselves last is really the only way to gain some kind of acceptance. So let's take an honest look at people pleasing this evening for about 15 minutes. And let's understand what it truly is and see it in action. I'll give you some examples of what it may look like even in your life, and learn how it is that we can break free from it, because you really do deserve a life that is really led by your own values, by your vision, and not by the expectations of others. So, when we talk people pleasing, what might that look like? Already, just by what I've said, you may have an indication that is definitely something that is popping up in your life. But give me a few examples. You say, well, people pleasing may be something where you are saying yes out of obligation. You're saying yes out of an obligation rather than joy. Think of all the times that you've agreed to perhaps make something for an event, knowing perhaps that you have something else totally that you really would prefer to do, but you don't want people to think negatively because you're not bringing something to this event, and you know that they may feel some kind of way, although it is something that is really helping someone else. Not to say that it's bad to help someone else, but it starts to get in real murky areas when you make your major preoccupation with life saying yes to others and always saying no to yourself. So maybe you're worried about disappointing someone. That frequently is why people say yes when they really want to say no, or when they really should say no. So think about that. Are you doing things where you're pretty much on a consistent basis saying no, or saying yes rather, out of obligation rather than saying no out of priority? What else might it look like? Well, it may look like changing yourself to fit the expectations of others. Have you ever really kind of downplayed your opinions, or something that you've desired to be a certain way or to happen in a certain way, or even kind of laughed at things that you just didn't find real funny, but you felt uncomfortable, so you felt that perhaps, well, let me just go ahead and laugh so that I can fit in. Yeah, I know you've probably experienced something like that. We all have, especially in social and family gatherings or settings. It's easy, it's real easy actually, to believe that we have to be who others expect us to be. Perhaps some expectations were put on us at a very young life. And we feel that since people expected that then, since people pronounced this over our lives at a certain time, to really do or to act any other way would really not be good. And you don't want people to be displeased with you. Yeah, that's another example. Changing your entire thought on life, changing the way that you view things, changing the way that you act based on what you feel others think that you should do. That's something that you need to check. People pleasing at its finest. A third thing, and then we'll move on to some ways in which you can stop this. Avoiding confrontation at the expense of your own needs. Yeah, another example of people pleasing. When you avoid a difficult situation or difficult conversations, that's a good example. Difficult conversations because you don't want to make waves, you just want to keep the peace. I know it's hurting you. However, it's just best to keep quiet. I don't want anybody else to get upset. Well, that is also an indication of people pleasing. We tell ourselves that it's better to keep peace and that peace is more important than truth. Think about that. More important than truth. Sometimes we do things that put our health in jeopardy. Sometimes we do things that really put our mental health in jeopardy, but we're doing it to keep peace. Another way in which we people please, another thing that we really need to be aware of and make some changes so that we are able to move past this and live a more healthy life, live a more authentic life that sounds more like us, reflects more of who we are. All right. And not so much more of who others want us to be. Or perhaps they even feel that they see we are this way or see that we should be this way. The only way that you should act is the way that you see that you should be, not anyone else's opinions. All right. So, all examples of how we may very well be in that land of people pleasing. Very good examples of ways in which we are really kind of denying our authenticity, our opportunity to be authentically ourselves. So how is it that we can start avoiding some of these things? How is it that we can move out of this people pleasing phase? One of the first things I want to tell us is we have to set clear boundaries, not just set those boundaries, but honor them. It's one thing to give it lip service. I am not going to do, I'm going to stop doing this. I will make sure that I have time for this. It's one thing to state all those things, and then it's a total different thing to act upon them. So set your boundaries and act on your boundaries. Hold steadfast to them. If you've, determined that it is better for you to pursue a program that you want to learn or pursue a degree, perhaps it is better for you to not go to a family gathering this particular time. You've gone every other year, and really it's not going to be in your best benefit to go right now because you have some other things that are priority. Make sure that you look at those things and make the best decision. We always talk about the best yes. Make sure that you give your choices the best yes. And that means the best yes for the situation, the best yes for you, the yes that is going to be the most profitable answer that you can give. What else? In addition to setting your clear boundaries, yeah, you might have to practice saying no without justification. How many times is it that we say, oh, well, we're unable when we finally get up the nerves to say no? I'm so sorry. I'm not going to be able to do that. You see, I have to make sure that I provide this, or I have to. You see why I'm not doing this is we have to be able to say, I'm sorry. I'm not going to be able to do A, B, C, period. Put a period there and stop feeling as though we have to justify it. And in many instances, stumble over our words to give justification because we're so uncomfortable that we're saying no. Let me tell you something. Let me let you in on a secret. It's okay to say no. And chances are, whomever you're saying no to, whatever you're saying no to, is going to be just fine. You have to learn to put priorities where they need to be so that you can prioritize life in the way in which it deserves to be prioritized for you. Now, I want you to hear me. I'm talking a lot about putting yourself first and saying no to things where other people may need things. I don't want you to think I'm saying you say no to everything. You never put anyone ahead of you. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm talking to those of you who never put yourself first, who always say yes and never give that no that's going to profit you. I'm trying to get you to see that you have to change things in life so that life can be better, so that life can be healthier, so that you can pursue that reinvention that you often want to pursue, so that you can understand and identify for many that purpose, so that you can get from under what many of you have felt like has been a rock that you have been dwelling under forever and a day. You can finally push that rock aside and come out and live a life that is more congruent to what you want your life to really look like and authentically be. All right. So, what else? Practice saying no without justification. Take the time that you need to reconnect with your own desires. It may mean taking a trip by yourself, dedicating some weekends to sitting down and journaling, putting your thoughts down, your desires, finally writing out those things that you've held in your heart for so long and never acted on. And then envision or think about, in order to make these things happen, what do I need to do? Well, I may need to say no to some things. Let me practice how I'm going to say that without justification. Let me make sure that I have my boundaries set so that I am able to say that and move in a way in which is going to be profitable so that I can finally bring these things to fruition. Again, chances are, whatever you're saying no to, whomever you're saying no to, it's really going to be okay. It's going to survive, and you are going to thrive by finally putting yourself in a place in which you can do better and you can see those things that you've been envisioning. What else? So I've given you three things. Set your clear boundaries. Make sure that you practice saying no without justification. Take the time that's necessary to reconnect with those desires and surround yourself with people who respect you for who you are. If you give a no to someone, if you say no to something, you should not be guilted into a place where you feel like you're less than. You should not be guilted into a place where you feel as though I'm a bad person because I'm not doing this, because I am putting myself first for the first time, probably in many cases. Make sure that you surround yourself with people who are going to want you to thrive, who are going to want you to be in the best health mentally and physically, who are going to want you to be your authentic self and encourage you and do things that are going to help to build you up and things that aren't going to tear you down. People pleasing flourishes in environments where we're not fully respected or valued. Keep that in mind because it's very easy in those environments for people to put themselves first, which basically gives you the back end of what's needed. Keep that in mind and remember that as you move about your circles. Doesn't mean that you may have to change your circles a bit. That could be the case too. And that's a whole new shift in thinking for many of us. It's difficult when we've had a certain tribe for a long time and we're finally starting to realize this tribe isn't healthy for me. That's a whole other path, a whole other area that needs to be addressed. Make sure that you treat yourself as you treat others. If you're a people pleaser, you treat others really well. Make sure that you take some time to start treating yourself as well as you treat others. And the last thing I want to tell you is surround yourself with affirming people. I already talked about, people who respect who you are. You want those people, again, to affirm you, to say, you have this, you can do this, I'm in your corner, I want what you want. And because of that, I respect the fact that you're not able to do all the things that I might want you to do, to go all the places, to be all the things that I might want you to be. I want you to be you. So people pleasing robs us of years. It robs us of dreams. It robs us of the life in which we need to live in order to thrive. So I want you to think about that the next time you try to decide which way you're going to go with something. Am I going to act on something? Am I going to do something? What have I been doing for years that's in that people pleasing category that I really need to work on? It may take time. These things may have developed a stronghold for you. So it's going to take some work to uproot them. But the point is, it can be done. All right. Now, I would be negligent if I didn't tell you that I offer support in that area as well. We as women, I know it's something that we need support around. For those of you who may need some help in saying no, in moving past that people pleasing so that you can get to that life that you truly desire, so that we can deal with all the other things, the heart issues, so that we can deal with the things that are really at your core that are going to enable you to move into the place where you want to be. I want you to text reinvent to 240-887-0072, or go ahead and visit the website, which is Reinvent the Program. It is a 4-week program in which we will definitely get the gears rolling on changing the thought process, changing the habits, changing the direction that we're moving in so that we can get to the point where we can not only see the vision, but believe that it can come to pass. Believe that we really can live that life of purpose and that people pleasing is not one of the best avenues to get there. So again, text reinvent to 240-887-0072 or go and visit the website Reinvent the Program. Thank you all so much for being here and for listening. Remember, go out and be yourself. Go out and make the changes necessary. Eliminate the people pleasing that you've been doing. Be authentically you. Be confident in who you are. Know that that thumbprint you have is uniquely yours. And by touching something, you can make a world of a difference, not just for you, but for those around you. I encourage you to be your absolute best. Desire and thrive to live a life in which you have abundance, in which you have authenticity, in which you have joy. I'll see you next week.